in a minute, President Biden is going to address the country. So I wanted to be able to cover that for everybody. I'm in the middle. I'm waiting on phone calls and stuff. So I'm not even going to just be here, but I wanted to make sure that I cover it live. He's going to be talking about what's been going on in Afghanistan over the past 2 days. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it, even before or after, because I'm going to do a live show tonight, and pretty much I'm going to talk about Afghanistan. So for anyone just tuning in, my name is Steve. This is Citizen Stringer. Again, in a few minutes, it's supposed to be right now, 3:45 Eastern time is when President Biden was supposed to start speaking. Of course, I mean, he's always late, so he's going to be late again today. So we will just wait. I mean, that's all we can do. You guys can probably hear my kids because I had to go pick them up, and now they're here. And so that means I got to leave the door open at least until my wife gets here so I can make sure they're not doing anything they're not supposed to be doing, you know, like kids do all the time. I suppose I'll just read the chat and stuff until we get going, because even though I don't want to read the chat most of the time, I don't know what he's going to say. He's probably going to blame everything on Donald Trump. That's usually what he does. He likes to blame Donald Trump for everything. So he's likely going to do that. What are our other forecasts? Like, what else do you think he'll do? He'll blame our intelligence community. I believe that's what Nancy Pelosi did. She blamed the intelligence community, which is kind of funny because they've been relying on the intelligence community to go after Donald Trump for the past 4 years. So for them to try to turn it on the intelligence community was pretty entertaining today. You know, CNN was trying pretty hard, you know, saying the hands are tied, his hands are tied. But yeah, Joe Biden, I guess this weekend, he made a statement saying his hands were tied, that they had to follow Donald Trump's plan to end the occupation there in Afghanistan, which is kind of stupid considering Joe Biden single-handedly reversed almost every single one of Trump's policies with his sweep of a pen with all his executive orders that he signed this year. So I don't know. Someone said, I wish they would just take credit. Take credit for what? I mean, they're not going to. That would require our government, you know, having some integrity. There's not many members of our government right now that have any integrity whatsoever. So whether it's President Biden, whether it's, you know, and here's the thing, President Biden was on vacation. The only reason he's addressing the country today is because Fox News ripped him hard. Fox News ripped him hard. CNN even ripped him hard this morning. He had no choice. He had to address the country. And he, like someone just said, he's probably just going to mumble. That's probably what he's going to do, is just continuously mumble. For anyone just tuning in, yesterday I was out in Charlotte, North Carolina, covering a anti-mandate rally. I told you guys that I was going to put out a shirt. I do have that shirt out now. I'm going to put the link in the chat. It's just very basic. It's just the, you know, F your mandates shirt. Very, very, you know, classy. And if you're on Facebook, you should have already probably seen it. If you're on YouTube, I linked it in there, and I'll put the link up. And I'm going to try to find something to donate donate part of the profits. I don't know where, but I'm going to donate part of the profits, probably $5 a shirt. If you guys want to buy the shirt, the link is in the chat right now. I don't know where I'm going to donate it to. I would like to do something that has to do with the mandates. That would be kind of cool. So we'll have to see. But that link's there. So if you buy this shirt, that's awesome. It's another way of supporting us. You don't need to use big tech. You don't need to use YouTube or Facebook or Twitch in order to contribute. You could buy a shirt. That's an easier way. Plus, you get something tangible for your contribution. So appreciate that. Someone said, you bet Joe Biden is not going to take questions. I can guarantee with 100% certainty that he likely will not answer any questions, because he's just going to get, you know, reamed. Stephanie with the 200 stars. Thank you. What was this? Someone said, what's up with the mystery boxes? So 77 mystery boxes are packed and they're downstairs. I have 7 mystery boxes that are left open because I have to go get gift cards. I didn't get the gift cards yet to put in them. They'll all ship tomorrow. Everyone will get a shipping notification. I spent all morning doing it. So they're all packed and ready. I just got to put the gift cards in the seven ones that I picked out and then slap labels on them. And then boom, they're going out. Also, September mystery box, the order is up on PT. Now what is it? Pure Truth Clothing now. Ray with the stars on Facebook. So if you want to order the mystery box, it's a pre-order, so we don't ship until September 15th. But this is going to be different. And let me tell you why this mystery box in September is going to be different. Because everything is going to be printed by our new shop in Virginia. So we're opening our own print shop because some of the cost of the shirts and everything were just getting too expensive. They kept going up. So I wanted to find a better way to do it. And I did. So we're going to be printing our own shirts, our own sweatshirts and everything right here in Virginia. And then as we expand, we'll be able to do it. And for the grand prize for the mystery box, one of you guys are going to get a little business card that says, hey, you want a 55-inch TV. And then you contact me and then we'll send the TV to you. But so we're going to do 55-inch TV that'll ship directly to you as soon as you tell me that you won. We're going to do a $150 gift card, a $100 gift card, and then three $50 gift cards in September's mystery box. Every mystery box will have a sweatshirt because it's fall. And again, they'll all be new designs. So someone said start a fund to impeach Joe Biden. Yeah. But yeah, so we'll be printing them all so no one can complain about shirts manufactured elsewhere and all that stuff. We'll be doing it all ourselves. I'm going to start off with the heat, what are they called? Heat press. That's what we're starting with. So hopefully that works okay. But the shirts will be cheaper because they're not going to be screen printed. Camera's zooming out. So, but yeah, if you want the mystery box, the link is in the chat. Come on, Biden, start your fucking ramble. Michelle with the stars, thank you. Someone said, I hope Pelosi is keeping an eye on Afghanistan. She knows what an armed... Okay. Yeah, but you know what's funny is Nancy Pelosi actually praised Joe Biden this weekend for his handling of Afghanistan. That's how batshit crazy these politicians are. She praised him. She praised him. I forgot what the quote is. But, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Someone said, apparently Joe Biden has read one of my comments. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. What was Nancy Pelosi? What did she say? I know something stupid. I think she was praises Biden. Let me see. Nancy Pelosi's statement on Afghanistan. The president is to be commended for the clarity of purpose in his statement on Afghanistan and the actions he has taken. The Taliban must know the world is watching its actions. We are deeply concerned about reports regarding the Taliban's brutal treatment of all Afghans, especially women and girls. The U.S., the international community, and the Afghan government, which is no longer in existence. There is no Afghan government anymore. Must do everything we can to protect women and girls from inhumane treatment from the Taliban, Pelosi said. Any political statement that the Afghans pursue to avert bloodshed must include having women at the table. The fate of women and girls in Afghanistan is critical to the future of Afghanistan. As we strive to assist women, we must recognize their voices are important. See, this is just all propaganda bullshit. It's insane. It's insane. She said she wants to acknowledge the clarity of purpose of President Biden's statement and the wisdom of his actions. That's Nancy Pelosi. That's the Speaker of the House saying the wisdom of his actions. You know, so far 7 people have been killed. And U.S. troops had to open fire because there were people that were coming at them with arms. There's been way more people that have been killed. Go on Twitter right now. You can find videos of American helicopters, flying off. Hold on one second. This is Steve. Sorry, guys. Had some business stuff I had to attend to, so that's handled. But yeah, still waiting for the old honorable Joe Biden to get up here and I mean, what do you think he's gonna say? Do you think he'll resign? I don't know. Can you imagine if he gets up there and he's like, you know what, this job isn't what I thought it was. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to introduce Kamala Harris. You think maybe that would be it? Probably not, right? That's called wishful thinking. And not that Kamala Harris, we'd be I don't know. I can't decide which one we'd be worse with. You know, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, you know. Oh my goodness. But I tell you, isn't it amazing how much damage could be done to a country in 6 months? Like when you look from, you know, January 20th to now, it's not even 7 months almost. Think about it. 6.5 months. Just the total damage to our country. It's sad because I said I would do the I told you so thing for a while, and I don't want to do that anymore. Now I just want to be like, no, I was wrong. It's going to be great. Someone said we could be way worse off. Give it time, buddy. Give it time. Someone else said something. I don't even know what you said. You said something silly. Oh, about CNN. Yeah, they're reporting. I put that on Twitter, and I said time has come to declare Twitter a terrorist organization. Or I'm sorry, CNN a terrorist news outlet. Because they should. We should. Because they are. Because they said the people are the people here in Kabul are chanting death to America, but they're being mostly peaceful. How chanting death to America is mostly peaceful, I have no idea. Those words spoken by terrorists is not mostly peaceful at all. It's not. But for some reason, they're trying to pretend like it is, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. For anyone that was curious as to what the shirts look like that I made, that I was talking about earlier, that is the shirt, which is great. And I'm so happy that I put that out. And again, if you want to order the shirts, I think I'm going to donate $5 off of every shirt to some charity. I just haven't figured out which charity. And I'm open to suggestions. If you guys have a suggestion, let me know. But if you want to get that shirt, you can do so by the link that's in your chat right now. And I'll put that back up there because someone else wanted to see it. I made another picture too. So, because, just like, see, like protest, like, look at that. I'm getting professional here with the mock-ups. But yeah, you can get that shirt. And I think I'm doing it in black and blue, black and blue, whatever. But you can do that. CNN needs to hang out with the Taliban. They are. Haven't you seen the new picture? Oh, man, I guess I'll show that one too. Hold on. I think Tim with Keystone News actually sent it to me a minute ago. Let me see if I can't find it. I saw it while I was in the car. But basically, it's got a picture of a CNN reporter yesterday. And she wasn't wearing any like traditional Islamic garb. And then it's got her today, and so it has her yesterday, and she's dressed like a normal person. Then it has her today, and she's completely dressed like the in the traditional Islamic garb, whatever that is. And it's really funny, and I wonder if she's okay. Oh wait, Biden's live. All right, hold on. No, he's not. There he is.
Good afternoon. I want to speak today to the unfolding situation in Afghanistan, the developments that have taken place in the last week, and the steps we're taking to address the rapidly evolving events. My national security team and I have been closely monitoring the situation on the ground in Afghanistan and moving quickly to execute the plans we had put in place to respond to every constituency, including and contingency, including the rapid collapse we're seeing now. I'll speak more in a moment about the specific steps we're taking, but I want to remind everyone how we got here and what America's interests are in Afghanistan. We went to Afghanistan almost 20 years ago with clear goals. Get those who attacked us on September 11, 2001, and make sure al-Qaeda could not use Afghanistan as a base from which to attack us again. We did that. We severely degraded al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. We never gave up the hunt for Osama bin Laden, and we got him. That was a decade ago. Our mission in Afghanistan was never supposed to have been nation building. It was never supposed to be creating a unified, centralized democracy. Our only vital national interest in Afghanistan remains today what it has always been: preventing a terrorist attack on America's homeland. I've argued for many years that our mission should be narrowly focused on counterterrorism, not counterinsurgency or nation building. That's why I opposed the surge when it was proposed in 2009 when I was vice president. And that's why, as president, I'm adamant that we focus on the threats we face today in 2021, not yesterday's threats. Today, the terrorist threat has metastasized well beyond Afghanistan. Al-Shabaab in Somalia, al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, al-Nusra in Syria, ISIS attempting to create a caliphate in Syria and Iraq, and establishing affiliates in multiple countries in Africa and Asia. These threats warrant our attention and our resources. We conduct effective counterterrorism missions against terrorist groups in multiple countries where we don't have permanent military presence. If necessary, we'll do the same in Afghanistan. We've developed counterterrorism over-the-horizon capability that will allow us to keep our eyes firmly fixed on the direct threats to the United States in the region and act quickly and decisively if needed. When I came into office, I inherited a deal that President Trump negotiated with the Taliban. Under his agreement, U.S. forces would be out of Afghanistan by May 1, 2021, just a little over 3 months after I took office. U.S. forces had already drawn down during the Trump administration from roughly 15,500 American forces to 2,500 troops in country. And the Taliban was at its strongest militarily since 2001. The choice I had to make as your president was either to follow through on that agreement or be prepared to go back to fighting the Taliban in the middle of the spring fighting season. There would have been no ceasefire after May 1. There was no agreement protecting our forces after May 1. There was no status quo of stability without American casualties after May 1. There was only a cold reality of either following through on the agreement to withdraw our forces or escalating the conflict and sending thousands more American troops back into combat in Afghanistan, lurching into the third decade of conflict. I stand squarely behind my decision. After 20 years, I've learned the hard way that there was never a good time to withdraw U.S. forces. That's why we're still there. We were clear-eyed about the risks. We planned for every contingency, but I always promised the American people that I would be straight with you. The truth is, this did unfold more quickly than we had anticipated. So what's happened? Afghanistan political leaders gave up and fled the country. The Afghan military collapsed, sometime without trying to fight. If anything, the developments of the past week reinforced that ending U.S. military involvement in Afghanistan now was the right decision. American troops cannot and should not be fighting in a war and dying in a war that Afghan forces are not willing to fight for themselves. We spent over $1 trillion. We trained and equipped an Afghan military force with some 300,000 strong, incredibly well equipped, a force larger in size than the militaries of many of our NATO allies. We gave them every tool they could need. We paid their salaries, provided for the maintenance of their Air Force, something the Taliban doesn't have. Taliban does not have an Air Force. We provided close air support. We gave them every chance to determine their own future. We could not provide them was the will to fight for that future. There's some very brave and capable Afghan special forces units and soldiers. But if Afghanistan is unable to mount any real resistance to the Taliban now, there is no chance that 1 year, 1 more year, 5 more years, or 20 more years of U.S. military boots on the ground would have made any difference. And here's what I believe to my core. It is wrong to order American troops to step up when Afghanistan's own armed forces would not. The political leaders of Afghanistan were unable to come together for the good of their people, unable to negotiate for the future of their country when the chips were down. They would never have done so while U.S. troops remained in Afghanistan, bearing the brunt of the fighting for them. And our true strategic competitors, China and Russia, would love nothing more than the United States to continue to funnel billions of dollars in resources and attention into stabilizing Afghanistan indefinitely. When I hosted President Ghani and Chairman Abdullah at the White House in June, and again when I spoke by phone to Ghani in July, we had very frank conversations. We talked about how Afghanistan should prepare to fight their civil wars after the U.S. military departed, to clean up the corruption in government so the government could function for the Afghan people. We talked extensively about the need for Afghan leaders to unite politically. They failed to do any of that. I also urged them to engage in diplomacy, to seek a political settlement with the Taliban. This advice was flatly refused. Mr. Ghani insisted the Afghan forces would fight, but obviously he was wrong. So I'm left again to ask of those who argue that we should stay, how many more generations of America's daughters and sons would you have me send to fight Afghanistan's civil war when Afghan troops will not? How many more lives, American lives, is it worth? How many endless rows of headstones at Arlington National Cemetery? I'm clear on my answer. I will not repeat the mistakes we've made in the past. Mistake of staying and fighting indefinitely in a conflict that is not in the national interest of the United States, of doubling down on a civil war in a foreign country, of attempting to remake a country through the endless military deployments of U.S. forces. Those are the mistakes we cannot continue to repeat because we have significant vital interest in the world that we cannot afford to ignore. I also want to acknowledge how painful this is to so many of us. The scenes we're seeing in Afghanistan, they're gut-wrenching, particularly for our veterans, our diplomats, humanitarian workers, for anyone who has spent time on the ground working to support the Afghan people, for those who have lost loved ones in Afghanistan, and for Americans who have fought and served in the country, serve our country in Afghanistan. This is deeply, deeply personal. It is for me as well. I've worked on these issues as long as anyone. I've been throughout Afghanistan during this war, while the war was going on, from Kabul to Kandahar to the Kunar Valley. I've traveled there on 4 different occasions. I've met with the people. I've spoken to the leaders. I spent time with our troops, and I came to understand firsthand what was and was not possible in Afghanistan. So now we're focused on what is possible. We will continue to support the Afghan people. We will lead with our diplomacy, our international influence, and our humanitarian aid. We'll continue to push for regional diplomacy and engagement to prevent violence and instability. We'll continue to speak out for the basic rights of the Afghan people, of women and girls, just as we speak out all over the world. I've been clear, the human rights must be the center of our foreign policy, not the periphery. But the way to do it is not through endless military deployments. It's with our diplomacy, our economic tools, and rallying the world to join us. Now, let me lay out the current mission in Afghanistan. I was asked to authorize, and I did, 6,000 U.S. troops to deploy to Afghanistan for the purpose of assisting in the departure of U.S. and allied civilian personnel from Afghanistan, and to evacuate our Afghan allies and vulnerable Afghans to safety outside of Afghanistan. Our troops are working to secure the airfield and to ensure continued operation of both the civilian and military flights. We're taking over air traffic control. We have safely shut down our embassy and transferred our diplomats. Our diplomatic presence is now consolidated at the airport as well. Over the coming days, we intend to transport out thousands of American citizens who have been living and working in Afghanistan. We'll also continue to support the safe departure of civilian personnel, the civilian personnel of our allies who are still serving in Afghanistan. Operation Allies Refugee, which I announced back in July, has already moved 2,000 Afghans who are eligible for special immigration visas and their families to the United States. In the coming days, the U.S. military will provide assistance to move more SIV-eligible Afghans and their families out of Afghanistan. We're also expanding refugee access to cover other vulnerable Afghans who worked for our embassy. U.S. non-governmental agencies, or U.S. non-governmental organizations, and Afghans who otherwise are at great risk, in U.S. news agencies. I know there are concerns about why we did not begin evacuating Afghans civilians sooner. Part of the answer is some of the Afghans did not want to leave earlier, still hopeful for their country. And part of it because the Afghan government and its supporters discouraged us from organizing a mass exodus to avoid triggering, as they said, a crisis of confidence. American troops are performing this mission as professionally and as effectively as they always do, but it is not without risks. As we carry out this departure, we have made it clear to the Taliban, if they attack our personnel or disrupt our operation, the U.S. presence will be swift and the response will be swift.
They already did this morning.
And forceful. We will defend our people with devastating force if necessary. Our current military mission will be short in time, limited in scope, and focused in its objectives. Get our people and our allies as safely as quickly as possible. And once we have completed this mission, we will conclude our military withdrawal. We will end America's longest war after 20 long years of bloodshed. The events we're seeing now are sadly proof that no amount of military force would ever deliver a stable, united, secure Afghanistan, as known in history as the graveyard of empires. What's happening now could just as easily happen 5 years ago or 15 years in the future. We have to be honest. Our mission in Afghanistan has taken many missteps, made many missteps over the past 2 decades. I'm now the 4th American president to preside over war in Afghanistan. 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans. I will not pass this responsibility on to a 5th president. I will not mislead the American people by claiming that just a little more time in Afghanistan will make all the difference. Nor will I shrink from my share of responsibility for where we are today and how we must move forward from here. I am President of the United States of America, and the buck stops with me. I'm deeply saddened by the facts we now face, but I do not regret my decision to end America's warfighting in Afghanistan and maintain a laser focus on our counterterrorism missions there and other parts of the world. Our mission to degrade the terrorist threat of al-Qaeda in Afghanistan and kill Osama bin Laden was a success. Our decades-long effort to overcome centuries of history and permanently change and remake Afghanistan was not, and I wrote and believed it never could be. I cannot and will not ask our troops to fight on endlessly in another country's civil war, taking casualties, suffering life-shattering injuries, leaving families broken by grief and loss. This is not in our national security interest. The American people want. It is not what the American people want. It is not what our troops, who have sacrificed so much over the past 2 decades, deserve. I made a commitment to the American people when I ran for president that I would bring America's military involvement in Afghanistan to an end. While it's been hard and messy, and yes, far from perfect, I've honored that commitment. More importantly, I made a commitment to the brave men and women who serve this nation that I wasn't going to ask them to continue to risk their lives in a military action that should have ended long ago. Our leaders did that in Vietnam when I got here as a young man. I will not do it in Afghanistan. I know my decision will be criticized, but I would rather take all that criticism than pass this decision on to another president of the United States, yet another one, a 5th one, because it's the right one, it's the right decision for our people, the right one for our brave service members who risk their lives serving our nation, and it's the right one for America. Thank you. May God protect our troops, our diplomats, and all brave Americans serving in harm's way.
Well, that leaves a lot for people to ponder, right? Like, did you learn anything? No. He said so many things in there that are just patently false. He said he will not tolerate our troops being targeted. Well, they were this morning at the airport, and they had to kill 7 of these guys. They had to kill 7 of these Taliban. And just in case anyone doesn't understand what's going on, if you live under a rock and you haven't been paying attention, Last week on Thursday, they announced that they were sending in 3,000 troops. Now, they were sending 3,000 additional troops. There are already a bunch of troops in theater. They were sending in 2, I don't know the military jargon. They were sending in 2 groups of Marines that were already in theater, so they were already in that area. They were sending in 1 group of Army that included engineers and stuff like that to help process the people, the Afghanis that they were going to bring here to the United States and process them to security and all that. And then they sent 1 group of 3,000 from Fort Bragg, I believe it was, to Kuwait, where they were going to stage. Then they upgraded that to 4,000, then to 5,000. As of right now, he's deployed 7,000 additional troops because they just deployed 1,000 paratroopers. Within the past couple of hours, they just deployed 1,000 paratroopers into that area. Let me tell you what Taliban's doing right now. And because this is what the mainstream media isn't, they're probably not going to tell you. So Taliban is currently going door to door, searching for journalists, searching for anyone that helped the Americans, and then they're killing them. Right now. That is what's going on right now. And you could find it all on Twitter. There's video of bodies all over the place in Kabul and everywhere else. Kandahar, all over the place. In a matter of a week, the Taliban took over the entire country. The government fled. Everybody fled. And just so we're on the same page here, I don't know. I'm not military. I have friends that served. I have friends that didn't come back. I have family that served. I can't I don't know what they feel about this because I haven't talked to them about it. I don't like endless wars. I don't like any of that. But these people put their lives on the line. You know how many Afghani troops have died so far this year? 2,600 Afghani troops have died fighting the Taliban. A huge, I mean, it's insane. You know, he said, oh, we're not going to have what happened in Saigon. If you look at the helicopter pictures, they have pictures of the helicopters landing on the embassy in Saigon, and then they have pictures of the helicopters landing on the embassy in Kabul. Like this government is so screwed. I really don't understand this president and his mindset, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what the option is. Do we send more troops in? My personal belief is these people were working for America. They were working for Americans. They were acting as translators. They were literally doing the job of Americans there, of America there. It's my opinion we have a responsibility to protect those people and protect women and children. They already canceled schools. The Taliban already said schools are done. Beauty shops have to close down because that's not allowed with what is it? Shia law, whatever. Shia law, I forgot what the term is. It's crazy. Even CNN is telling the truth about Joe Biden right now because the country is mad at Joe Biden. And I said this on November 21st, or I'm sorry, January 21st. I said, listen, we're all going to sit back and Sharia law. There you go. We're all going to sit back and we're going to be like, let's just hope and pray, yeah, it's going to be bad. But eventually the left is going to catch up and just realize how bad it was for them to elect Joe Biden as president. He said he had no choice but to follow the plan that Donald Trump had in place. Well, here's the thing that he neglected to mention. And maybe you didn't know. Donald Trump's, the way he was going to pull out troops, it was conditional. So they weren't allowed to attack any of the province capitals. That was part of the actual, peace treaty, ceasefire, whatever you want to call it, with the Taliban. That was part of the plan. They couldn't attack any of the capitals, which they did. And then there was another one, I forgot what it was. It was like something silly, like you can't kill anybody or something like that, which obviously they broke that as well. And you couldn't attack any United States bases, which they started doing right away. There's been mortar attacks in Afghanistan on U.S. bases, and I think contractors were killed. I think people have already died this year. I just don't believe there were any troops that died over in Afghanistan this year. I could be wrong about that too. But I know contractors died, and there was no response from the White House. I think it was 4 or 5 days, and maybe they sent a drone strike into some other country. But there was no real response. And what ended up happening, and what everybody knows, what did he mean by the fifth when he was counting himself? I mean, clearly, 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans, he was counting himself. He did speak, he erred in how he spoke, but I knew what he meant, and I think everyone else did. People are just trying to find something to nitpick with him. There's enough in that whole speech where we can nitpick, and we don't need to go on with the little things. Man. Someone said the fact that they broke those treaty places was because the USA broke the treaty first. No, the reason why they broke the treaty is because in June, Joe Biden said when he announced that they're pulling out by September 11th, 2021, he said there's nothing that they're going to be able to do that's going to keep them there. And then the Taliban was like, oh, really? Okay, challenge accepted. And then once they started doing it and they started bombing, our military bases there, they started taking these capitals and stuff. They knew that there was going to be no response from the president because the president already said that he was not going to respond to it. I mean, it's everyone can look at this. And here's the funny thing. There's on July 8th, I think the last time he addressed the nation, and he talked about this, and he talked about, or maybe it was in June, when he talked about pulling out the troops by September 1st. One reporter, I think she was from Reuters or something, she said all the intelligence people say that if you do this, and you do it so quickly, and you do this by September, that this country will implode. And he got into a back and forth with the reporters saying the intelligence never said that. The report never said that. Well, it turns out they did. And the intelligence officials are now speaking out and leaking because Nancy Pelosi and some of the other ones tried to say it was an intelligence failure. saying the reason that this is happening is an intelligence failure. They first tried the Trump thing, and then they realized, and Joe Biden's still trying to say this is Donald Trump's fault, that they were following his timeline. He had a condition. They broke those conditions. He wouldn't have. I mean, can you imagine if Donald Trump was president right now? I'll be honest. I know what would happen, and a lot of people wouldn't like it. We probably have 50,000 troops in Afghanistan right now. The second they started taking it over, the second our embassy was in danger or anything like that, we would have had a flood of troops over there, or we would have just started bombing. Because Donald Trump, that's the one thing you got to give him. He wanted peace. He didn't want any of this stuff going on over there, but he was not a pushover. The Taliban literally saw Joe Biden and decided yesterday they were going to, or last week they were going to push in on the Capitol, on all the capitals. And they started taking them over and over and over. And within a week, they took back their entire country. Isn't that something? Within a week. And he says we don't want to get in civil wars. I mean, to be honest, it's kind of a civil war that we started, you know. But I don't know. I don't want more troops going over there. I don't know what to do because I'm caught, you know, in between. I firmly believe that the tens of thousands of Afghanis that are there, the ones that were helping America, we have a responsibility to make sure they're safe. And as of right now, the Taliban is going door to door and killing them. So they're not really safe. You know, the people that are over there right now are not safe. And what it looks like to the entire country right now is that the United States is you know, running away with the tail between their legs. And every single, you know, American soldier that died over there is you know, it's sad. Someone said, but we can't stay forever. The people were neutral. I mean, I don't know what to do. I don't have an answer. I just could say that this wasn't the way to do it. This is going to cost people lives. And he said, oh, you know, he tried to act tough again, saying if they attack our troops. Well, they did this morning at the airport. They did this morning, and our troops had to fire back. There's video online showing our troops sprawled out, you know, with sniper rifles for when these people come. The only thing is it looked like it was just an isolated group of people with guns that came to the airport, and it wasn't a whole Taliban, you know, group. Here's the thing: the Afghani army and the Afghani Air Force abandoned everything. The Taliban has all that now. They have the jets, they have all the armaments, they got drones, they got missiles, they have helicopters, they have everything. The Taliban now has they have the top 38, or they're in the top 38 for the largest air force. They are a terrorist organization. Oh, and that's another one. He says he wants to say it's not a mash. Thank you for the super chat, NFG. Thank you. He wants to say it's not a matter of national security. Okay, they're terrorists. Yes, it absolutely is. If the entire country becomes a hotbed for terrorism, yeah, that's a matter of national security. You know what else is a matter of national security? The fact that they loaded hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Afghanis on planes this morning and are flying them here into the United States where they're going to be on army bases. That is a matter of national security as well. I don't know. Someone said we should have kept Kabul till every American and American ally was able to leave along with our weapons. Here's the thing. From what I understand is they've stopped flights even for Americans. That's what I think Fox News or CNN was reporting earlier, is that they stopped all flights out of the airport because it's too hot and contested now. So they stopped all, I believe, actually commercial flights. They stopped all commercial flights. So that means all the civilians that are, you know, flying over or coming back, the American civilian contractors and things like that are trying to get out of the country, everything. I don't know. I don't know what else I could say. Biden is a failure. He's been a failure. He's continuing to be a failure, and it seems like every single day something new is coming out, and it's bad. As a reminder, just real quick, my show airs live. Normally, Wake Up America's live at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Tonight, I'm going to talk about this in a little bit more detail. I'll show some of the videos. Thank you, Robert, for that super chat. I'll show some of the videos that I was mentioning during this program. I don't have anything preloaded right now. I do want to, again, real quick, if any of you guys want to get our mystery boxes for September are available for pre-sale now. They'll be on sale from now until the end of the month. Then I close out the order, and then I print all the shirts. These shirts and these sweatshirts I'll be printing here at our new print shop. We'll be doing it all ourselves. All the shirts will be made in the USA. They'll be printed with the sweat and, you know, of me. I'll be doing it to start it. But you could do that now. The link is in the chat with the mystery boxes. One of the cool things about these mystery boxes that we're doing this time, which is different than what we've ever done, we always give away gift cards with them. So this time we're giving away 1 box with a $100 gift card, 3 boxes with $50 gift cards. The grand prize, though, 1 box randomly, and what I do for the gift cards, I just choose 1 box out of each size typically, and then I throw gift cards in there and then mix them all up, so I don't even know who won. The thing that's going to be different this time is you get one person is going to get a card, and it's going to say send us an email because you won a TV, and we're going to be giving away a 55-inch flat screen Roku that will ship directly from Amazon to whoever wins it. You'll have to verify because there's going to be a code on that piece of paper that you'll have to give me to verify that you're the one that actually got it. So go to the store, order it. I think I have 20 of each size that I'm doing, and then after that, I'm not going to be doing anymore. We have a bunch of small ones because there's not a lot of small people apparently. And the sizes go all the way up to 5X. And then, of course, just as I was saying, I do have the new shirt here, which the link is in the chat, and I'll show you the pictures of it. It's just, you could kind of tell the world how you feel about the mandates, as you see right there. F your mandate. And you want to see what, here's a lady protester wearing it. F your mandate. That show's on sale right now, $5 off of every shirt. I'm going to donate. I haven't decided where I'm going to donate. Open to suggestions. It doesn't need to just be a police charity, even though that's what we typically do. I'll donate it anywhere. We'll figure it out. But you guys can find those links in the chat. I'll be live 8 o'clock Eastern time today, and we will try to tackle this the best that we can. So make sure you go to the store, buy a mystery box while you still can. And I'll see you guys at 8 o'clock today. 8 o'clock today. If I end this the right way.